Welcome to our deep dive into Canadian immigration. We're really going beyond just the surface level stuff. We're getting into the real nitty-gritty of how to make Canada your new home. And there's just so many options.
Yeah.
From the famous express entry system
Yeah.
to family sponsorship. There really is a pathway for almost anyone. But you know what? Just knowing the rules.
Yeah.
It's not enough. As you'll soon find out, it's about strategy and planning.
That's exactly right. It's really not just about what the program entails, but it's how do you position yourself to be the ideal candidate?
That's a great point. So let's get into one of the most popular programs, Express Entry. A lot of people think it's just about
Right.
checking off boxes like
Yeah.
age, education, work experience. But there's a whole other layer of strategy that most people don't even know about.
Right. It's understanding the comprehensive ranking system, the CRS. That's how Canada prioritizes applicants. And it is very competitive. Think of it like a job interview. You know your resume is only the first step.
I like that analogy. So it's not just about qualifying. You need to stand out. Like, let's say you're a software developer, which is a very in-demand field right now. But it goes deeper than that.
Exactly.
What specific language are you proficient in? Are your skills aligned with what Canadian employers are really looking for? That's where deep research is super important.
Exactly. And this is where language proficiency can really change the game. It's not just about meeting the minimum requirement. Higher scores, particularly in skills like writing and speaking, can really, really boost your ranking, push you ahead of the competition.
So it's worth really investing the time to prep for those language tests and really targeting those specific skills the CRS values most. Now, what about people who aren't just looking at federal programs, but they want to target a specific province?
That's where the provincial nominee programs come in, the PNPs. Provinces have unique needs that often go beyond what the federal government is looking at. For example, if you're a healthcare worker and a province has an aging population, they might fast-track your application through their PNP.
So location matters. It's about aligning your skills with the specific needs of a province. This is where spending time on provincial websites and those labor market reports can be super helpful.
For sure. And some provinces even have express entry streams, meaning that your PNP nomination can actually give you a huge boost in your CRS score.
Oh, that's a fantastic tip. Let's move beyond some of the more mainstream programs now and talk about some of the hidden gems in the Canadian immigration system. I think these are so interesting, especially for people who don't fit that typical skilled worker mold.
Absolutely. There are some really fascinating pathways for people with really unique skills and talents. Take the startup visa, for example. It's not just about having a good business idea. You need to have something truly innovative, something that could have global impact, something that could create jobs in Canada.
So you're talking about solving a problem, filling a gap in the market.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just the idea, right?
Right.
You need a solid business plan. And you need support from a designated organization. Basically, you need to show Canada that you're serious.
Yeah. And of course, you need to show you're committed with enough money to settle. They want to see you're in it for the long haul.
And that brings us to another unique program, the self-employed category. This is for people with unique skills in cultural or athletic fields. Like, say you're a world-class musician or a renowned coach. Canada recognizes the value you bring, even if it doesn't fit into a traditional job.
Exactly. It's about showcasing your ability to contribute to Canada's culture or economy. You need to have a proven track record and a plan for how you'll establish yourself in Canada and keep contributing.
Okay, and then there's the agri-food pilot. This one is so specific, it often gets overlooked. It's designed to address labor shortages in, you guessed it, the agri-food sector. So if you've got experience in meat processing or mushroom production, or even specific types of livestock farming, this could be how you get to Canada.
It's a great example of how Canada tailors these programs to address very specific needs in their economy, and it's a reminder to research these less well-known programs. You might find the perfect fit for your skills.
Exactly. It's all about finding that right fit. Now, what about people who are thinking, okay, I want to move to Canada, but I don't have a job offer, and I don't have a business idea. Can I study or work there first?
That is a common strategy. And it can be a really good one. Think of studying and working as stepping stones to permanent residency.
So it's not about immigrating right away. It's about building up Canadian experience and credentials, which can then help you qualify later on. So if someone's thinking about studying, choosing a designated learning institution is important, right? A DLI.
Absolutely. A DLI is a school that the government has approved to host international students. And the great thing is that after you graduate, you're probably eligible for a post-graduation work permit, a PGWP.
And that's huge. because that PGWP lets you get Canadian work experience,
Yeah.
which is so valuable when you later apply for programs like the Canadian Experience class.
Exactly. It's all part of the strategy. Now, if we're talking about work, it usually starts with a job offer from a Canadian employer.
Right. But even within that, there are different options. Some job offers might be tied to one specific employer, but others might lead to an open work permit, which gives you a lot more flexibility.
And there are programs like the Global Talent Stream. It helps speed up work permits for people in high-demand fields, often in tech or the skilled trades. It's all about figuring out what Canada needs and creating ways for people with those skills to fill the gaps.
It's whether you're a software developer or a welder, a nurse or a chef. There's a good chance Canada's looking for what you bring to the table.
And that's what we're trying to do in this deep dive. We're uncovering the details, the hidden gems, the things that can give you a strategic advantage to help you navigate the system confidently.
Absolutely. So no matter which pathway you choose, there are some universal steps you'll encounter. Let's break those down next.
Okay, so we've talked about the big picture of Canadian immigration. Like, what are your goals? How do you match your skills to the right program? But the journey doesn't end there. There are some really crucial steps that a lot of people miss. And those can really make or break your application.
You're so right. And I think one of the biggest ones is the language test. A lot of people assume, oh, I know enough English or French to get by. But Canada has pretty high standards.
Yeah. And for good reason. Having good language skills, it's so important for integrating into society, for finding a job, for really succeeding in Canada, and for programs like Express Entry. Your language scores can actually affect your ranking.
Right, not just about passing. Higher scores can give you a real boost.
Yeah.
Especially in certain skills like writing. It's like adding extra points to your application.
That's a great way to put it. So really take the time to prepare for those language tests and focus on the skills that the program you're applying for values the most. Don't just aim to pass the test. Aim to do really well.
That's great advice. Now let's talk about something that I know trips people up. Educational Credential Assessment, or ECA. So you might have a degree from a great university in your home country, but how does Canada know that it's equivalent to their standards?
That's where the ECA comes in. It's basically a way to evaluate your education from another country and compare it to what Canada uses as a benchmark. There are organizations that specialize in doing this, and which one you choose depends on what you studied and what immigration program you're applying for.
So it's not just a matter of showing them your diploma. You need this official assessment to prove that your education meets Canadian requirements.
Exactly. And here's where it gets interesting. Let's say you're an engineer. The ECA might show that your degree is like a Canadian bachelor's degree, but it's missing certain courses that you need to get licensed in Canada.
That's a great example. So the ECA isn't just about translating your degree. It can also help you figure out if there are any gaps you need to fill. Like maybe you need to take some extra courses or get some specific work experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's about being prepared, understanding how Canada views your education, and dealing with any differences early on.
Okay, now let's talk about something a little more heartwarming. Family sponsorship. This is all about bringing families together, helping loved ones build a new life in Canada.
It's one of the things that makes Canada's immigration system so special. They really value keeping families together. Canadian citizens and permanent residents can sponsor their spouse or common law partner, their kids, and even their parents and grandparents. There are specific programs for each one.
But even though it sounds simple, I'm guessing the process can be pretty complicated.
Oh, definitely. There are rules about who qualifies. You need to show you have enough money. And there's a lot of paperwork. It's not enough to just prove that you're related. You also need to prove that you can support your family in Canada.
So doing your research and being really organized is key. Especially if you're sponsoring your parents or grandparents, you need to build a strong case and convince Canada that you're ready to welcome your family and take care of them.
Right. And that leads us to another important part of Canada's immigration system, their humanitarian efforts. Canada has always been a leader in offering refuge to people who are escaping danger or hardship.
It's inspiring to see a country that steps up to help people in need. What are some of the options for refugees and people seeking protection?
There are a few different programs. Some are run by the government, some are privately sponsored. These programs provide a lot of support. Things like housing, healthcare, help with learning the language, and even assistance with finding a job.
Wow. So it's not just about giving people a safe place to be. It's about helping them build a whole new life and helping them use their skills and experience to contribute to their new home.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that integrating into a new society takes time and support, and that everyone benefits from creating a welcoming and inclusive environment.
Now let's talk about a program that I don't hear much about, the Caregiver Program. This is for people who have experience taking care of children, the elderly, or people with special medical needs.
Yeah, it's a program that tries to address a couple of things at once. There's a growing need for caregivers in Canada, and this program offers a way for people with those skills to immigrate.
So it's helping fill a gap in the workforce, and at the same time, giving people who are passionate about caregiving a chance at a new life.
Right. But it's important to know that you usually need to get some work experience in Canada first before you can apply for permanent residency through this program.
So it's a multi-step process. Speaking of specific needs, there's another interesting program I wanted to touch on, the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot, or RNIP.
Oh, yeah. The RNIP is a great opportunity for skilled workers who are looking for a change of pace. Maybe they want to live in a smaller community, be part of a close-knit group, and really contribute to the growth of a region.
It's about bringing talented people to areas that are facing labor shortages. It's a win-win. These communities get revitalized, and newcomers get a unique pathway to Canadian life.
You got it. But keep in mind, you need a job offer from a community that's part of this pilot program. It's not just about liking the outdoors. It's about finding the right opportunity in a place that values your skills.
So you need to do your research, network, and connect with potential employers in those specific regions.
Definitely. And this is where you really need to tailor your approach, highlight your willingness to adapt, your enthusiasm for a different kind of lifestyle, and your commitment to being an active part of the community.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the super competitive express entry system to family sponsorship to these more specialized programs. But the main thing to remember is,
Yeah, each program has its own specific rules and procedures.
and that's why we're doing this deep dive. We're not just giving you the basics. We're giving you the knowledge and tools you need to navigate this whole system with confidence.
We want you to go beyond those brochures, dig into the details, and find the pathway that truly aligns with your dreams and goals.
Whether you're a tech expert aiming for express entry, a musician thinking about the self-employed category, or a caregiver looking for a new start through that program, just remember.
Right. Your journey is unique. And with good planning, careful research, and a little bit of persistence, you can unlock a world of opportunities in Canada.
We've really explored a ton of different options when it comes to Canadian immigration. We've broken down specific programs and given you the tools you need to navigate this whole system. But before we finish up this deep dive, let's zoom out for a second and think about the bigger picture.
I think what makes Canada's immigration system so unique is its underlying philosophy. It's not just about filling spots or finding workers for certain jobs. It's about selecting people who can really become part of the fabric of Canada. It's a long-term approach.
So they're trying to build a society that thrives, that's inclusive and welcoming, a place where different talents and skills and perspectives are valued.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they put so much emphasis on things like language ability, education, and work experience. These aren't just boxes to tick. They show how likely someone is to integrate well and contribute to Canadian society.
It's about setting people up for success, not just letting them in the door.
Right. And this commitment to integration, it goes beyond just the economy. Canada also recognizes how important it is to keep families together. That's why they have programs for spouses, partners, children, even parents and grandparents to come to Canada. It's all about strengthening that social fabric.
And we can't forget about Canada's history of helping people in need, offering refuge to those fleeing danger or hardship. I think that says a lot about their values and their role in the world.
It's a reminder that immigration is about people, real people with their own hopes and dreams, and the desire for a better future.
So as you start your own journey toward maybe becoming a Canadian resident or citizen, remember that it's more than just forms and procedures. It's about aligning your goals with what Canada has to offer and bringing your unique skills and talents to a place that values diversity.
With a good plan, thorough research, and a little bit of that never give up attitude, you really can unlock a world of possibilities in Canada. Embrace those challenges, celebrate the milestones, and remember that this journey you're on, it shows your courage, your determination to build a better life for yourself and for your loved ones.
We hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and confidence to take on the Canadian immigration system. Remember, the path might not always be straight, but the rewards are worth it. Good luck on your journey. And remember, we're always here to help you explore the world with knowledge and a sense of adventure.